There is no doubt that we shoot a lot of 9mm up here at the Ultimate Reloader Ranch. The problem is we can never seem to load enough of it. So we've grabbed the RL1100. We're going to pair it up with the new upgraded DA3000 auto system from Dillon, and we're going to see if we can finally get a system that can keep up with our demands. Let's go do it. I'm F-Class John for Ultimate Reloader, and if there's one thing that the crew up here love, it's 9mm. Shooting steel, shooting boxes, shooting paper, shooting cans. I have a lot of fun doing it too, but the bigger problem is coming with enough 9mm. Well, we have an 1100 here. It's configured in 9mm, and it's what they use to put together a lot of their 9mm ammo. But what we need to do is put this new enhanced DA3000 on it and really crank up the volume. Now, the DA3000 has been recently upgraded. Since its release around 2022, it's been largely the same machine, but they've now added a 50-level 2-stage clutch. They have a refined motion curve on it, and I'll explain what that is a little bit later. And then they've also increased the amount of dwell time that you can have on both the down and the up stroke. I'll cover all that once we get it put together, but that leads me into, let's get it put together. And just like that, we have it all assembled. In all fairness, it took probably a little over an hour. It's not a terribly hard process. There's really good instructions that come with it. And whether you have a brand new 1100 or one that you've been using forever, it's a pretty simple process. I've also taken the liberty of setting up all of the stations. We have our CFE powder in here. We have our bullet feeder. We have our decapper, because we're going to be using brass from our Mojo project that you might have seen here. So it's been processed, but there's always a chance that there's something in the flash hole or a primer that was left behind. So we do want to have the decapper in there just in case. And we're going to be using Berry 124 grain bullets with it. It's a good combo. They're easy to shoot, light recoil, and a lot of fun. With that, I'm going to bring you around to the other side. I'm going to show you the menu and really going to jump into what's changed in the firmware that allows you to have this 2-stage clutch, as well as a couple other changes they've made. So let's go take a look. Here it is. So this is the menu. We're going to dive into it. Now, a lot of this hasn't changed. We still have the counter here. And then what they've done, one of the changes, top delay and bottom delay here. It used to be 2 milliseconds, which is 2 seconds of delay, either top or bottom. It's now 8 seconds, and I'm not going to really go into this because it is what it is. You can make it longer. I will say this top delay though is going to be really great for people who want to single load their powder, maybe off of a little bit more digital type scale, so it'll stick at the top a little bit longer, and 8 seconds is plenty of time to do that. What we really want to dig into here is going to be this work level clutch and travel clutch, and then also the clutch shift point. So let me explain these real quick, and then I'm going to show you on the actual machine. So the clutch shift point is going to be the point at which the head switches from the travel clutch to the work clutch, and we can make it 0, meaning there's no travel and it's all work, or we can go all the way to the bottom and have it be all travel clutch, or we can move it somewhere in between. Theory being, if we're going down here, we can make this clutch more sensitive in case something gets in here, a piece of brass, whatever it is. But at the bottom, we might want it to do some sizing or something like that. And so we're going to be setting the clutch shift point there. The travel and work clutch, again, we're going to be setting where it does with the shift point, but then the actual clutch levels are going to be the indicator of how much pressure it takes to stop the machine with either the travel clutch or the work clutch. And so that's really all there is to it. The first thing that we want to do though is we want to set up the clutch shift point. And really what we're talking about here is we're talking about where do we want, again, the tool head to stop. And we're going to need our tool for this. So what we want to do is we're going to take this and we are going to bring the tool head down. And what you have to do is make a decision on where you want that stop point to be. Now, on something like pistol brass, it's much shorter. You're probably going to have a much longer travel clutch because you're only working, the last this amount, right? Like it's very small here. But if you're working on something like rifle, you're probably going to want your travel clutch to stop taller. And again, if you're doing something like sizing where it's applying more pressure, you're going to need that work clutch to initiate sooner than later as well. But in this case, we're just doing 9mm. Now, I'm going to bring it all the way to the bottom, and then I just want it to come up a little bit because really anything short of that isn't going to be applying any pressure anyway. So we're going to take the clutch shift point, we're going to hit enter. Now we're going to come down to set. Now that I have it set where I want, I go ahead and push the set button, and then it's going to raise it back up. And then if I click on it again, you'll see it's assigned a number. So in this case, 690. And this number here, while it doesn't necessarily relate to anything you're going to see on the machine itself, this number here is something that you could reference. So if I was keeping a log, I could say, well, in my 9mm, I have my travel clutch or my shift point to be at 690. That way, if I do maybe some rifle sizing or something, and I've now set my travel at say 200, and I want to come back to 9mm, I could bring this down, set the clutch, see what the reading was, and make sure that I was close to that same setting. And that's really what I would use that number for, because that's really where it's going to come in handy the most. Now we're going to go ahead and hit back, and now what we want to do is we need to set the travel clutch and we need to set the work clutch. Now, my recommendation would be to try to set the travel clutch as absolutely light as possible. You do have to keep in mind, though, that depending on what your process is, what things you have in your tool head, that travel clutch could get initiated sooner than later. Things that could impact that might be if you're dropping powder. As soon as this bar encounters any resistance, boom, that travel clutch could get initiated. If you're not dropping powder, then you might not have that problem, but it's just something to think about with the travel clutch setting. So I'm going to go up to travel clutch here. We're going to go ahead and set it for 0. We're just going to start at 0 because that's kind of a good point. And then for the work clutch, I'm going to pick an arbitrary number. Let's call it 15, just because we know that we're going to be seating some bullets. That's going to take a little bit of pressure. So we're going to set it to 10. And in a perfect world, what we're really shooting for is the lowest number that accomplishes our goal on press. So I'm going to go ahead and set it back. And now what I want to do is I'm just going to run one piece of brass through here. And we're going to get it set so that we can start. And I'm going to go ahead and hit go. And we're going to see if we have a stop either in the travel or the work clutch. And you can see right there, so if you look, it says travel threshold jam. So that's going to be in the travel clutch. And my guess is it's because of something in the powder. And again, that's just my experience having used the machine a few times. So I need to up that travel clutch a little bit. So let's go ahead and raise this back up just for a second here. I'm going to get this piece of brass out. We're going to go ahead and lower this again. And this is a trial and error process sometimes. Once you get the hang of it, you're going to kind of get a feel for where your clutch settings should be. But now I'm going to come back in here. I want to go back down to my travel clutch, and we're going to try 10. So I'm going to go up to 10. All right, so there we go. And to be honest, at this point, I'm going to try it without the brass because I don't think we even need the brass to see if that is going to engage at this point. So let's hit start. And as long as it comes down, more than halfway, I know the travel clutch is working. Okay, so we're going to be good there. So now let's lower this. So now we know the travel clutch is good. Now, if I really wanted to play with it, I could go down to like 7 or 6 or something and see. But we're just going to leave it at 10. Now let's fire this up again, and now we're checking to see the work clutch. So it's going to come around. It's going to decap. That didn't set it off. We're going to have the expander here. No, we're good. Now it's going to prime. That shouldn't do anything. We're going to come around to powder. This is the only one where I think we might see something. No, it dropped the powder. Now it would normally come around and get a bullet. I don't have any loaded, but that's okay. And before it does the last step, I'm going to stop it just because I don't want it to drop a powder charge in there. And now that I know that's working, we're going to throw a few bullets in here. And we're going to get this going. And we're going to try to do a full load on it now. Now let's fire this up and see if we get a loaded round. Looking good so far. That matches what happened to us last time. Now we're going to do powder again. And then here comes a bullet drop. Seeding bullet, okay. Now the crimp. All right. So now that's pretty good. We have a full set. It went through every station. We didn't trip any of the sensors. And again, if I was really dialing this in, I might go back a little bit, just to really fine tune it. But now it's fully set. So now you could run the press. But what I really want to do is show you what those clutch settings mean in the real world. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to come in here, and I'm going to be using the travel clutch in this case. So we're going to take the travel clutch. I'm going to go back and I'm going to set it. I'm probably going to need to do 5 only because we were trying to get past that powder drop. So let's do that. And now I'm going to run it, and I'm going to put a piece of brass in here on the shell plate where it doesn't belong. It's going to stop because of what the clutch is doing, and we're going to see how much damage it does to the case mouth. So there you go. You saw it stopped. It saw the brass here. It says that we have a travel threshold that's been, tripped. And let's go ahead and pull this up. And you can see, this hit right on the top. So it's definitely going to smash it. It's not like I wasn't expecting it to do nothing. But what the real trick is going to be is when we come back in here now, and we're going to go to the travel clutch, and we are going to crank it all the way up. So you can see here, we're 20, 30. We're going to go 40 and then 50. Or 49. So 0 is a setting. There's 50 levels, 0, and then to 49. So we're going to go back here. And now we're going to do the same thing. Well, it came all the way off. It did have a work threshold. It actually got past the 50 or 49 on the travel. But you can see just there the difference, right? I mean, that's pretty substantial. And I think it just goes to show that there's definitely a difference between having the low setting clutch that's going to save. I mean, look, accidents happen, right? But it's going to save the machine, or potentially you drop a tool in there, a screwdriver, whatever it is, brass gets knocked over on its side. That's what that clutch is there for. If something's wrong, it's supposed to stop the machine, and it's supposed to prevent the machine from damaging itself. Secondarily would be preventing the damage of whatever falls in. But really, the clutch setting is there to prevent damage to the machine, and that's the important thing to remember. Now that you've seen how to set up the clutch, the shift point, and those other features, I've reset everything back for the loading clutches that I wanted, and we're going to go ahead and get this 9mm rolling. So let's go. And just like that, the machine has done its work. We have about 100 rounds ready to go, so it's time to head up to the Ultimate Reloader Ranch and have some fun. Let's go.
There you go. Oh!
And as always, that is a ton of fun being up at the ranch there where we can shoot at steel or paper or aluminum cans or whatever we want to. And it's one of the reasons why having a big progressive like this is so cool. Less time in the reloading room, more time on the range, whether it's pistol, rifle, whatever it is you're looking to load. Having that DA3000 do the work for you just means it's easier on you, it's faster to get the loading done, and I can get out to the range a little bit faster. Also, just to recap, if you have a DA3000, you can send it in for an upgrade. If you're thinking about getting a DA3000, this is probably the time because we have the added 2-stage clutch, we have the 8-second delay top and bottom now, and then we have the increased kind of curve on the shell plate movement. So instead of a linear snap as it was, now it sort of accelerates and then decelerates, and that's going to help prevent any of your case wobble, bullets falling off, things like that, powder spillage. So all three of those are really important features that they've added to their automated system. With that, I do hope that you get a chance to go out and shoot. I hope you can spend time with friends and family, and we will talk next time. Have a good one.
Hey guys, thank you very much for watching this video. If you haven't done so, first off, go to ultimatereloader.com/subscribe. You're gonna wanna check out our newsletter where we've got free downloadable resources, content recaps, deals, and more. Second, if you want a sneak peek of our exclusive membership community, go to ultimatereloader.com/pro or just go to the homepage and click on the button. One of the things I want to highlight there is our monthly live streams. Each month, we're going to take your questions, we're going to provide industry updates, and we're going to talk about what's happening at Ultimate Reloader. You can either watch live and chat with us in the live chat, or you can consume it like a podcast after the fact. ultimatereloader.com/pro.